All right, we're still cruising through the NFC East as we return with the update with a look at the Washington Redskins defensive line pass rush unit, a unit that could be a little bit better this off or this coming season. Ryan Kerrigan, I think number 91 right there against the right tackle. I think he's one of the better pass rushers in the league, and for some reason he just hasn't gotten the acclaim that he deserves. But he's a guy that's usually hovering around double-digit sacks and really athletic. And for Washington, he's most certainly been a hit for them since they picked him in the 2011 draft. Now they did lose Chris Baker to Tampa Bay, and I think that loss is going to hurt them, but. Hopefully Kerrigan and Preston Smith, who I think had an underrated sophomore season, will be able to step up and shine in place of Chris Baker, their interior defensive lineman, heading over to Tampa. So we're going to get another look here at Ryan Kerrigan beating Jason Witten on a split zone look and bringing down Dak Prescott for the sack. Now let's go back to Preston Smith for a second. Preston Smith had a really good rookie year, and he finished the season with 8 sacks. Now, if you just look at the raw stats for Preston Smith, it would look like he had a down sophomore year with 4.5 sacks, but he was involved on 7 sacks as a sophomore. So I think Just talks a lot about how the half sack stats are stupid, but he was involved on 7 sacks, but he only got credited with 4.5 for the season. So I think that his demise last season was a little bit overrated. And you still have Trent Murphy, who's a good third rusher, coming in on the interior right there against the Panthers. Now they added Stacey McGee from Oakland on a pretty large deal, which I did not understand. I thought that even for Oakland's front, he was a pretty standard rotational guy. And Oakland did not have a good defensive line at all last season. So to see them give him, I think it was around 5 years, 25 or 4 years, $21 million was a little bit confusing. But I did like the pickup from Terrell McClain from Dallas. Anytime you can steal a talented player from a division rival is a good start. He's an underrated pass rusher in his own right. He doesn't have the flashy numbers that some of these other interior defensive linemen has, but he definitely has the ability to make splash plays up the field. He's aggressive, good with his hands, and physical to bring down the quarterback. Where they really shined in the draft was being able to draft John Allen from Alabama. He was projected to be, by some outlets, a top 3 or top 5 pick before his combine, where he kind of had a shaky workout, but when you just look at his production profile at Alabama, 3 straight years with 10 sacks or more. He does have the shoulder issues, but this is a guy who's a talented player, and he should fit right into their nickel sets at 3 technique, and he can play some 5 technique too. And they also added John Allen's teammate Ryan Anderson out of Alabama in the second round, who I don't think he's going to be a great pass rusher really ever in the league, but if he's your 4th guy behind Murphy, Kerrigan, and Preston Smith off the edge, you're doing fine. So I think the Washington's pass rush unit is a unit that can make strides in 2017. They were below average this past season, but I don't see why this team can't have an above average pass rush, especially with Josh Norman blocking down in the secondary, and hopefully DJ Swearinger providing some boost at safety, and maybe even Kendall Fuller coming back strong in his second season in the league. So we'll be back tomorrow with the New York Giants, and then we'll be finishing up the NFC East on Monday with the Dallas Cowboys.